touch. Oh, that helped with absolutely nothing. What's this? That's edit. That's voice. So I hope you guys can hear me okay. The hair's looking a mess, as always. Anyway, guys, I hope everyone is doing well. Lemon and apple juice. Literally pieces of lemon and pieces of apple in water. One of the best things for your recuperation day. So today's recuperation day. I was at the chiropractor's today and I got my neck aligned. That was super painful, by the way. Dude, that was super painful. And he wouldn't do the right side, where my major issue is. He says, no, I'll do the left side, and it'll kind of fix itself. So, yeah, all right. I says, go ahead. And I think one of the reasons behind it is primarily because of all the rear naked chokes that I've been finding myself in lately. So I've been trying to play possum. And oh wait, is the chat off? Chat filters. Oh no, the chat's on. So okay. So in case anyone wants to write anything, they can. So pretty much, I was doing my neck exercises yesterday, and it was super sore. But you have to do a bit of physiotherapy on your neck now and again, right? Because otherwise, you're going to have major issues when you then roll, or when you're then fighting. Also, your neck absorbs a lot of the impact from a punch. So depending on how strong your neck and your shoulders and everything is, that can affect your ability to take a punch. I've also heard you can do jaw exercises specifically and use your jaw to do that, but apparently Muay Thai fighters do that now and again. I wouldn't advise it because then you'll have slurred speech and nobody's going to help you eat unless you're in a retirement home. And you want to be healthy in the long run. So even if you're doing stuff like MMA, grappling and stuff like that, you want to be healthy in the long run. So that's the first point. That's what Jonas, so I did a video for Jonas yesterday. And then he was asking me about, health and basic stuff like that. And I was like, yeah. I did a video, shared with him my favorite recuperation drink. And then he wrote me on WhatsApp and he says, when you guys do MMA, you do it like very chilled. It looks tough, but it looks, he says it still seems a lot chiller than what you see on TV. So now you have to imagine, if you look at the Olympics, if you look at the finals of the Taekwondo, right? The Taekwondo finals in the Olympics, any weight class, they're throwing a kick to kill. Same within boxing. If you've got two pretty strong boxers, they're in the Olympics and they're fending off each other and the time is running out, the clock is running out, they want that gold medal. So they put everything behind their punch. All their training, all their consciousness, everything goes behind that one punch. So MMA is no different. If you look at MMA fighters, a lot goes behind a single punch, a single blow to the gut, a single kick. Everything is designed to destroy and hurt and slow down the opponent. Now, the way they execute that, sometimes they go beyond the means or beyond the tools that they have. That's how you can actually injure yourself in your hand. If you punch wrong, like if you punch with this part of the hand here that I'm waving, you're likely to break it. If you hit the wrong part of the body, so for example, you don't punch the head is pretty hard. You can slap the head because the rule is soft on hard, and then hard like on soft. All right, they don't go for the neck in MMA, but usually it's the jawline, the temples, and whatnot. So keep in mind that when MMA fighters are they're building up a fight, they've been in a 3 month, 7 month, 4 month, 2 month training camp. There's all sorts of crazy stories out there. People preparing 6 months for a fight, right? When they prepare for a fight, they've put everything into that training camp. Also, a lot of their character gets distorted in the training camp. That's why you see a lot of trash talk. So they're trying to earn money, and with one fight, they're trying to set up their family for the next 2, 3, 4, 5, 10 years, right? And you can earn a lot of money if you get the right fight. Usually, in order to get the right fight, you also have to need the right opponent. And if you have two people that don't like each other, that's going to draw money because people like drama. People like to see a little bit of action. So when we train MMA, or if we're training grappling, or if we're training like boxing or whatever, it looks a lot softer and slower because we're not trying to kill each other. We don't need to. We all have jobs. We have a job the next day that we have to get back to. So if you're going to do MMA and you might be a little bit scared because you see the people, gushing blood on TV and the broken jaw and the teeth behind the back of their throat, don't worry, that's not going to be you. If you decide that all you want to do, and this is where I come back to Jonas, Jonas's primary question was, is it possible for me to start MMA even though I'm a little bit scared? Then yes, you can start MMA even if you're scared. You can start Muay Thai even if you're scared. You can start Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. What you want to do is slowly expose yourself to it. The best way to do that is to go to different gyms. When you're first wanting to find a gym to train with, it doesn't have to be one single martial art. You can go to 2 different Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu gyms and then a wrestling gym, and you can just get a feel for the training. If you're a beginner, the experts or the people that are preparing for matches next week, they're not going to take you and ragdoll you like crazy. They won't have time for you. So the people with the high testosterone level probably won't really care all that much about you. It's the others that go there regularly to stay fit. They'll probably introduce themselves. And you can go right up to them and you can introduce yourself. You can say, hey, I'm so-and-so. I'm Jonas. I've never done any boxing before in my life. Can you teach me 1 or 2 moves? So when you do that, it gives you a little bit of legitimacy, but not as a fighter, just as a respectful human being, and that's more important. So if you're starting out and you're scared because you see boxers die and stuff like that, don't worry, that's not going to happen to you. If you're going like once a week just to stay fit with boxing, it's very unlikely that you're going to be in that scenario as 2 professionals who were doing like weight cuts and stuff like that over the course of 3-4 days rapidly. You probably like won't even come into contact with any of them that are currently doing that right then and there. So if you want to start, go ahead, start. And you should try and this is specifically for Jonas, but anyone can use these tips. So you can like find a boxing gym, 2 Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu gyms, a wrestling gym, and I don't know, a third one, self-defense gym. And you go to each of them for your trials over the course of the next couple of weeks. And you just go in, introduce yourself. First of all, that will get you used to meeting new people. And it will get you used to going in somewhere where you might feel you have no business of being. And going in there and starting to, starting a conversation and starting to introduce yourself, starting to make friends, and then learning the basics. And then you can see what suits you. what training schedule suits you, what price ranges suit you. And once you've found a price range, a schedule, and a tempo that is good for you, then you can say, how much does a month cost? How much does a week cost? How much does it cost to do 10 training sessions? How much does a year's contract cost? Nowadays, a lot of contracts are very flexible. And I think one of the reasons for that is people don't want to get, they want open relationships. They don't want to be tied down anymore, right? It's not a marriage. If you go into a wrestling gym, it shouldn't be a marriage. It should be very easy to get in and out without any issues. So I think that's one of the takeaways, the key takeaways. You try different gyms, you get yourself out there, you find a gym that you like, you get some more information on it, but you still continue looking at other gyms, see what suits you the best, see what suits you the most. And remember, everything is temporary. So you could go to a boxing gym for 6 months, and then once you feel you've had enough experience in boxing, you can say, you know what, now I feel fit enough to go and join wrestling. To be honest, both of those sports, they're very hard to compare. They're combat sports, but one, you're consistently punching somebody, or you're consistently being punched, even if it's ever so lightly, at a lower pace and softer punches. Even if you're doing bag work and that's all you're doing, you know, you're hitting the heavy bag to build up your cardio, to get a bit of the frustration out of your body, so you're hitting the heavy bag. Even if that's all you do, you're still punching. And then if you go to wrestling, that's where you're controlling someone. So in wrestling, you learn to control someone in a position, and you learn not to be controlled in a position, to get out of the position. And recently, my wrestling coach told me, he says wrestling's all about getting up even if you can. Getting up from a position even if you can, even if you're being ragdolled, even if you're being suplexed, even if you're being thrown all over the place. It's about trying to get up when you can't. And I guess boxing is the same as well, in the sense that boxing is moving forward even though you're being punched backwards, right? So both of those, Muay Thai probably also the same, right? Because Muay Thai, a lot of people don't know this. Kids in Thailand, if they have the physical attributes to become Muay Thai fighters, they start very early on because they can get boarding. They can get boarding. They can get a meal. They can get access to medicine. They can help provide for their families because it's the pastime there, right? So it's a very brutal concept, but yeah. Ultimately, though, if you're afraid of these types of things, of MMA and Muay Thai and stuff like that, just find a local gym and just explain to them, hey, I'm new to this. I don't know much. Can you help me out? And normally they'll be very happy to do so. And if you explain that you explicitly want to do this to stay in shape, then most people are going to help you with that. Nobody's going to argue with that and say, no, you have to fight, you know, the Klitschko brothers in 2 days. So you don't need to worry too much about any of that. The next thing on the list was, somebody asked me what is the best base for MMA, or what's the best martial art for MMA. So first of all, MMA became its kind of became its own martial art, but still one of the most important structures and bases is wrestling. And I think catch wrestlers would probably provide the best base for a different number of reasons. I've never heard anyone say this, but I think it's the creativity that makes catch wrestlers so dangerous. And also, you know, they're constantly attacking the legs, toes, feet, ears, necks, nose, anything they can get a hand on. You know, anything a catch wrestler can catch as catch can. As soon as they catch it, belongs to them, and then of course they try and rip it off. So I think catch wrestling would hypothetically be the best base. One thing my coach says is that wrestlers tick off a lot of boxes. Their toughness, their discipline, their athleticism, their knowledge of controlling someone, getting into position, the importance of escaping position. If you're a black belt in jiu-jitsu and you're trying to pin someone to the ground to do a submission and that person happens to be a wrestler and they've been a wrestler for, I don't know, 2 years, it's going to be very hard. It's going to be extremely hard. And there's a story about Bo Nickel going into a Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu training camp, taking on a white belt, easily beating him, taking on a blue belt, eventually beating him, purple belt, a little bit of a fight, but ended up beating him, brown belt, tough fight, beating him, and then the black belt just getting him into position. And that was when Bo Nickel apparently didn't know any submissions. He just knew a neck crank, and that was good enough to finish off people that had years and years and years of experience, to the point where people ended up flabbergasted and clapping for him because he was a white belt and he was submitting brown belts, you know. So that's where wrestling comes into play, and I think catch wrestling is very good. So yeah, my coach Andy, he told me that it checks a lot of boxes. I can't, disagree with that. I would have to agree with that. And I think Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu is no longer, or can no longer be considered as a viable option to have as a base in MMA. I think also Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu brings with it a lot of false confidence in regards to what it can be used for in MMA, unless the person is doing no gi. So you have the gi, which is the tough material that you can pull on and you can use to choke the guy, but you can't do that in an MMA fight. So in an MMA fight, you're going to have to get yourself in position, and you're going to have to know anatomy one-on-one. You won't be able to do the same things as you do with a gi. So keeping that in mind, I would say wrestling has the majority of benefits. Plus, wrestlers compete religiously. They compete amongst each other in the training room. They compete, in their colleges, in their universities, and so on and so forth. But catch wrestling is just another amazing level of where you can take wrestling. But my coach said it's so hard to find decent catch wrestlers. It's so very hard to find. You can search for years and years and years and you won't find any. And he says there's a lot of people that are popping up all over the world claiming that they are catch wrestlers, but not really. They're just, trying to earn money on a lost art, or trying to fill in a gap and earn money with it. JJ says, yo, yo, yo. I know what question is going to follow with JJ. Then it was Stephen's question next. Stephen said, JKD versus Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. Who do you have? So saying as I've done both of these, I do Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, and I practiced JKD for about 4 years under Tommy Karatis and Thomas Marks, who was my direct instructor, who was my direct coach. To be honest, those two versus each other is the wrong question. The right question is, which is more effective for what? So JKD is a pure self-defense. And Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu is kind of like, it's became an umbrella term, because you can do Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu for anything these days. You can do it to lose weight, to, female self-defense. You can do it for, to improve your MMA. You can do it to, become more flexible, or you can mix it with your yoga training. So it has more benefits, but all in all, it just specializes in ground fighting without striking. So it's just positional ground ground wrestling. It's kind of, the simplification. JJ says, what's happening today? I don't know, JJ. What do you want to happen today? Do you want Among Us again? Is that what you want? Fortnite I haven't downloaded, by the way. Aren't you? Shouldn't you be in school, by the way? Dude is skipping school to watch Karim Davis talk about martial arts. He'll never amount to nothing. Nah, I'm only kidding. JJ's a good guy. So yeah, you have to compare the two of them. If you're comparing JKD to Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, so Jeet Kune Do, also you have to take it a step back. JKD's also kind of became an umbrella term, but it was never meant to become an umbrella term by its founder, who is, most of you know, is Bruce Lee. I think ultimately what it was supposed to become was a martial art that everybody could use to protect themselves. That was it. Using biomechanics, logic and common sense. That was it. Everything else that's been added on, all the razzmatazz, that's came with time, but it shouldn't, none of that should be incorporated. All of that came with time. All of that came with people trying to make martial arts sell better by giving you more, when with JKD the idea is less is more, and with Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu more is more. They always say Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu is constantly evolving, and it's true. You can go and accidentally create your own new choke that you didn't even plan to on that day. And that's fair enough. And I think if you go into a no-gi submission tournament, you're going to have all different types of grappling styles come together, and you're going to take what you need and take what you want. With pure JKD, you cannot do that. Pure JKD, it defies the logic of which it was built upon. So you have this point to this point. So what is the shortest way to get between that point? It's a straight line, right? So that's it. You can't say, well, I'm going to go here and find a new way to move and a new way to groove and a new way to dance and a new way to trance. It does nothing for the sport apart. It does nothing for the martial art apart from distract from what it's supposed to do. So that's why I always say Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu and wrestling. Well, wrestling can't evolve either. You've got different wrestling types. You've got Scottish Tech-Back wrestling, you've got Greco-Roman wrestling, collegiate wrestling, catch wrestling, Turkish oil wrestling. You've got sumo, you've got sambo. You've got all those different types of wrestlings. All cultures have wrestling. But ultimately, if you take any type of those wrestlings, any portion of those wrestlings, within the rule sets, they don't evolve that much. Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu can normally continuously evolve. And also, every Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu tournament that I've seen has its own rule sets. Like, it consistently changes every couple of months. So, and also depending on what belt you are, some things are allowed, some things are not allowed. JJ says he wants to play Among Us. All right. If I get another 4 people that want to play Among Us, I will play Among Us. I'll set up an Among Us stream. So yeah, JKD is a martial art that is a pure self-defense. Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu is a martial art that focuses specifically on basically what is ground wrestling. And it evolves from there, but ultimately that's the core of it. It's not to be substituted or mistaken for Japanese Jiu-Jitsu or German Jiu-Jitsu. Those two martial arts are completely something different. I'll be back in a minute. I need to set up I need to go set something up with someone else. You take your time, JJ. No problem. Ashaya John says, yo, welcome Ashaya John. We're having our second martial arts discussion based on some questions that Jonas sent us. So yeah, his question being, no, that was Stevie. Stevie, shout out to Stevie. Sorry, Stevie. Um, Brazilian Jiu Jitsu versus JKD. So in my opinion, JKD, with the rule sets that it has, and those are dictated by biomechanics, logic, and the need for speed. When I say the need for speed, it's getting from point A to point B as fast as you can and ending the fight immediately. That's why most of the biomechanics are based, or the concepts are based on fencing. If you have an instructor who's not teaching you the core principles of fencing, then they are not a JKD teacher. If you have an instructor that's not teaching you the push shuffle or how important retraction is, then you do not have a JKD teacher. So what a lot of JKD teachers, this is how you know if you have a fake Jeet Kune Do teacher, if someone's fake online, right? It's very simple to see. It's the most simplest thing yet. Here's the test. They always talk about the impact of the punch, right? So boom, you hit somebody with the eye jab. And then you see them super fast hit the eye jab. And then they pull back fast, but then they do something like this. Or they'll hit and they'll go like that. Or they'll punch and they'll go like that. See if they're doing something like this, where they're landing the hand here or there, or going like this or that, or this or that, then you know they're fake. When they retract, they should go back to defense. When they retract, they should go back to defense. And not a long way around or stylistically or dancing. Should go right back here, right? Or if it's the lead, right, it goes right back to a position where it can explode forward again. That's the only position it should be going to. So this, punching people and then landing it here, that is nothing but cosmetic, and it leaves you open. And when people always say to me, how does it leave you open? Dude, you can watch any number of boxing matches where the dudes get knocked out from counters. Normally with counters you'd be weighed down more, but still you're getting hit. Your bad habits are not rewarded. That's why in JKD, when we trained with Tommy and Thomas, we wouldn't do sparring. They were against sparring because you build your bad habits. Now people are going to go batshit insane and say, oh no, that's not true. Oh no. Yes, it's true. You build up your bad habits. I just watched a video with was Dustin Poirier, who has one of the worst habits ever. He resets. So first of all, if you're resetting, it means you've just got out of an exchange, you go back, and then you build in a bad habit. So for example, you go back, and then you go like that with your nose. There's one MMA fighter, he goes in, boom, 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 goes back out, and then he goes like that with his chin. Don't know why. So nobody asked me why, right? Hello, Karim and chat. I'm down for some Among Us. Oh, nice. Sans says I reached 100. Oh, nice. Congratulations, Sans. So congratulations to Sans reaching 100 subscribers. He never writes a full sentence. We never know what he's talking about, but he means 100 subscribers. So guys, don't forget, if you want Among Us later on, so we have 2 people that want to play. So we would need another 3. I said I would play if 4 people were interested. I'll set a stream up and then we can have a couple of games of Among Us. It's no problem for me. Should someone just stay in shell chin tucked and just hands really high chamber, chin not too exposed? Yeah, so that is a very legitimate question. Your chin should never be out like this. You should never go back like this, because all of this is going to get hit. So in a street fight, this is your livelihood. This keeps you alive. You want to protect that. And in boxing, you want to protect all of this, right? All of this wants to be protected. And even in jiu-jitsu, like, you do have a Philly shell in jiu-jitsu. A lot of people don't know this, but when somebody's doing a rear naked choke, you practice the Philly shell. You keep this here so that they can't do what's called a seat belt, right? A seat belt is basically, thank you, San says. It's because it will delete the message. I don't know why. Ah, okay. Right, so a seat belt, let's say this is the opponent, right? So I'm here and the opponent comes in here, and I'll show you this way. So this guy's behind me. He's got his arms here. So he starts to, progress to try and get a choke in, and I have to fight him off. And then he tightens, he pushes me to the side, takes away my leverage, takes away my balance, puts me in an uncomfortable position. And in the meantime, his legs also coming forward. So believe it or not, just like in boxing, you have to have a Philly shell. This has to protect here. This has to protect here. And it's like kind of like an X guard in boxing, but it's consistently moving. So he comes here, this is put here, I take this away, and then he might be coming from here. So I have to then control that. So that's why you do hours and hours of repetition regarding your defense. And it's the same in boxing. You cannot leave your chin open. There's a boxer called Bernard Hopkins who keeps a tennis ball tucked under his chin. So he'll keep a tennis ball tucked under his chin, and he'll run like that, right? So look, imagine running like this. People think you're an idiot. The idea is, he says, if you want my chin, you have to come and get it, but you have to work for it because it's always going to be tucked away. So he always keeps the chin here, the tennis ball underneath, and then if you notice, he's never been. I don't think he's ever been knocked out. He's been knocked out of the ring through a body shot because of the ropes, and he fell through once. But normally, you always want to keep, your chin protected, even if you're standing across from someone in a street fight, and let's say the fight hasn't broken out yet. You don't want to be the guy who goes like this. Hey, where the guy's standing in front of you and he's just like, right? You don't want to be that guy. You always want to keep everything ready, but not obvious. And to answer your question, hands up, locked in the chamber. Well, it depends on what you're doing. So there's different rules of thought. For example, in JKD, what we practice, which is a self-defense, you keep the arm, let's say the fight's already broken out. So you have your defense here, right? So my eyes are looking over the tip of my finger or in between the fingers. And this here protects all of that. If a punch comes from here, it goes here. So, and don't forget, nothing is static, right? You're constantly moving. You're keeping the motions. You're not giving the opponent a pattern that he can pinpoint out, then follow, and then use to be destructive towards you. So you're always like keeping the motions, right? And it's just slight motions. It's just a nice wave, like a nice rhythm. This is tucked close to your ribs, and there's a way to practice it. You can hold a light weight. So you hold a weight in your hand, and your knuckles are normally pointed in the direction of the guy's chin or throat. You aim for the throat, and if he closes down, you get the chin. And if he blocks, you'll hit here, but before you hit here, it's called broken rhythm. So before you hit, you can change the angle. Before you hit, you can change the angle, right? So you can always change the angles, go for the eye jab and stuff like that. So that's the concept behind it, right? I'm simplifying it, of course, to explain in this video. Thank you, Sansa's. Karim, you look handsome. Thank you, mate. Thank you so much. Very kind of you. God bless you. God bless you. That's the words I needed to hear today. So you've got your your defense, keep your chin tucked. Now, boxing can differ because boxing will keep this a little bit further away so that the punch is closer to the opponent. Boom. So it's easier and faster to hit the guy. But boxers are also super well conditioned. In Jeet Kune Do, you keep everything tucked in so you don't get tired. And you can simply practice this by taking a can of beans or a can of spam or whatever it is you've got at home, a can of dog food. You keep one here, you keep one here, and then you just basically hold them and you just go like this for a minute, 2 minutes. Start for a minute and you're just standing and you're keeping your defense and you're keeping these locked into your ribs, because the moment you start to take your arm out and just leave it hanging there, like leave it lingering, then what's going to happen is your arms are going to get sore and tired. Lactic acid's going to build up, because if you're in a street fight, you're going to have lots of adrenaline. So it's different from a boxing match. That if you see two experienced boxers, then you usually look a lot more chilled and relaxed. And with a street fight, you have to kind of be a lot faster and on your toes, you know. Ashaya says, yeah, Tom goes into shell, out of shell, hands down, one hand up, hand a little bit down, and he's just cycling different guards. Oh, you mean Tom Aspinall, right? Yeah, so fun fact about Tom Aspinall, if we're talking about Tom Aspinall, Tom Aspinall has been training with the Furies, so Tyson Fury, his father, his brother. He's been training with them for about 15 years. Come, Chiba. So a lot of people don't know that, but Tom Aspinall actually has boxing experience on an amateur level. And he could easily compete as a lower level professional. You would need to build your fights up and stuff like that. But he could easily compete as a lower level professional. Apple and lemon. Best combination for relaxation day. Today's a day off. I went to the chiropractors this morning. So yeah. Of course, what Tom Aspinall does is if you're doing MMA, you need to switch up continuously. You can't. So in a street fight, everything has to be compact, closed, and ready to boom attack. So you attack from a neutral position. So let's say you're here, boom, you attack. In MMA, you might be standing in a guard. You might be like this. You might be like that. You might be a little bit more like this. So you've got your different guards that you can rotate, and it keeps the guy guessing, because the guy's like, the opponent is rotating between, should I go in for the Muay Thai kicks? Maybe I should try some teep kicks. Maybe I should go in for the wrestling. Oh no, now he's lowered his guard, so the wrestling's not good, but maybe I can do the overhand. Oh wait, he's put his guard back up. So that's the chess match of MMA. So it's a different field, if that makes sense. Josh says, "Hi, what's up?" MBMB. What does MBMB stand for? San said, well, the middle fingers in your name, that's not good. Yeah, Josh is edgy. What can you say? Josh is edgy. But to be fair, Josh is a cool dude. He's never said anything bad to anyone in the chats and stuff like that. He's just got an edgy name, but ultimately he's a cool dude. But guys, don't take his example. Live and let live, right? If that's how he is, as long as he's nice to other people. Yeah. Speaking about middle fingers, try and use this finger, the thumb finger, and drop a like. So guys, as we're slowly reaching the end of me answering the questions that Jonas and Stephen had. Sorry, Stephen, for mixing your name up earlier on. We can eventually do an Among Us stream if you guys want to play Among Us. It's no problem for me. I still have an hour and a half. So it's no big deal for me. I'll be back. I'ma change my name. I can't play Among Us, Sans says. Can you play Among Us from your mobile? I'm just curious. I think you can, right? I don't know. So, yeah. So, Jeet Kune Do has its place in self defense. Brazilian Jiu Jitsu is great for staying in shape. You can use it for security work. I'm not saying you can't. Is it an ideal self defense? No, it's not. Because the very nature of a good self defense needs to be direct and hits the target as soon as possible. What is JKD? So JKD stands for Jeet Kune Do, which is basically a self defense that was developed by Bruce Lee in the late 60s, early 70s. And I practiced it for about 4 years. And now I've got almost a year of Brazilian Jiu Jitsu under my belt. The Brazilian Jiu Jitsu, uh, BJJ, there we go. Oy, Josh. Yeah, BJJ, I love it. I like Brazilian Jiu Jitsu. But Brazilian Jiu Jitsu versus Jeet Kune Do, it's less, Jeet Kune Do is less forgiving because when you practice Jeet Kune Do, if you're practicing it properly, this is what you need to have. You have a groin protector. On top of your groin protector, you have a thick, big groin and hip protector. Then you have a fencing protector for your body. Then you have shin guards and knee protectors that can deal with a big force of impact so that you don't twist your knee. Then you have your foot protectors. Then you have your head guards. And then you have different types of gloves. So your gloves may vary from this to more like traditional French boxing gloves and so on and so forth. Then you go in the middle and you're attacked by 3 people consistently for a minute. When you get better, when you get more refined, they attack you faster for 3 minutes. And now it's not 3 people attacking you, now it's 5 people attacking you. And that's how you get better in Jeet Kune Do. You literally are fighting off 3 to 5 guys in a training session. And those rounds are some of the toughest things that you'll ever have to do because it's so hard to breathe when you're being punched from every corner and kicked in the groin. Yo, can I please put my friend's YouTube in the chat? Yeah, when we have a Among Us stream, if we get enough people who want to do Among Us, will we be doing Fortnite stream tonight? Why not a Roblox stream? Oh, Sans, that's a good suggestion. Roblox? You guys decide. Do you prefer Roblox or do you prefer Among Us? Josh says I'm Saz because I got a spot on my head and it hurts. Oh, don't mess about with it. Don't mess about with it. Don't. That's the law of attraction, Josh. Don't focus too much on the spot on your head. Focus away from it. And it will sort itself out. Let oxygen sort it for you. Sans and Josh and John. Sans, Josh, and John said Roblox. Wow. Okay. Everyone wants a Roblox stream. Yeah, I guess I can put a Roblox stream together. JJ says Peach in the Hood. Peach in the what? Peach in the Hood. So Peach in the Hood is his friend, I guess, on YouTube. So yeah, guys, support his friend on YouTube and I'll set up a Roblox stream. So once again, JKD is designed to deal with self-defense situations. You literally get protective gear and you're attacking 3 points mainly. The eyes, the groin, and the knee. You take out one of those points, you've won the fight, you've won the match. I've accidentally, in my life, gave 2 eye jabs to people. And it is the most frightening thing in the world. Once you stab somebody in the eye, it is absolutely frightening. In Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, if I tie someone up and I get a rear naked choke and I start to slowly put them to sleep, it's more forgiving. So Jeet Kune Do is not forgiving at all. Arcton says, once I disjointed broke a friend's arm with Waza Judo overthrow. Ooh. So that's actually a good point you made, Arcton. One thing I think every kid should learn who's at the age of 4 or 5 should be how to fall, how to land correctly and fall. Quick story, I was in practice the other day. It was 2 weeks ago, and there was this new guy, and this new guy told me he knew how to fall, right? So I'm literally saying, are you sure? Because now we're going to practice some throws. I did a foot sweep. This guy fell on his elbow. Dude, I've never been so scared in my life. I was like, are you okay? Are you okay? And he was like, yeah, don't worry, I'm fine, I'm fine. His whole elbow was red. So yeah, you should learn how to throw someone without breaking their arm, but of course you should always learn how to fall correctly. And I think judo is great at teaching that. Nothing beats judo. Wait, what time you going to be streaming? Cause I got to go at 9:30. But if you do a stream tomorrow, I can stay up till whatever time. What time is it your time locally right now? Judo is so good. Judo is what jiu-jitsu used to be, and a lot of judokas have beaten professional jiu-jitsu players. And I'll give you the perfect example because people always say, "Oh, I need an example." You don't have an example, do you? And I'm like, yes, I do. Kimura. He used the actual move called Kimura to break the Gracie's arm. Uh, was it Julio Gracie? No, the dad. 6:35. So I guess we can do one in 10 minutes, 15 minutes. Wait, what time are you going to be streaming? Oh yeah, that was what you asked, right? I got to go at 10. Oh no, my dudes! If I stream, I'm going to be streaming like in 10 minutes or 20 minutes, and then only for an hour because I've still got work to do. So it's not going to be too late. Yeah. So guys, if any of you have a judo place somewhere close, go there. Judo. So this is basically what you need to know. Judo used to be. It used to have ground game, ground techniques, and judokas, which is somebody who practices judo, their ground techniques were so clean. You would practice the ground fighting portion so that your body can recuperate from the falls and the throws, right? So when you're practicing judo and your body's sore from the throws, you tell your coach, I want to do some ground game. Then the ground game is so neat and clean, way cleaner than what I've ever seen it being practiced in Brazilian Jiu Jitsu. So, yeah, I can only advise that you guys do learn some judo. Some judo is always good. Hello. Speaking of judo, there's my cat. His name's Judo. No, his name's Chiba. So yeah, judo is king. Judo is really really good. Brazilian Jiu Jitsu focuses primarily these days. Come here, come here, say hello. Look at this big line. Hi, my boy. How are you? Look at him, gorgeous. Judo was practiced he doesn't give a damn. He's like, what's going on here? What's going on here? Hey. Anyway, so judo was practiced primarily with throws and also ground game. Of course, that has changed these days. Arm locks while standing are OP. Yeah, catch wrestling. Catch wrestling has a lot of arm locks whilst standing. So it's a very OP. That's why I said this in a stream that I did on TikTok. I said that's why I feel catch wrestling is OP because you can just they often submit people while standing up, whereas Brazilian Jiu Jitsu fighters will often pull guard. Wrestlers tend to want to be the ones not lying on their back. They tend to want to be pushing their weight downwards. And if you're a catch wrestler, the rule is catch as catch can. So you don't really care when you are grabbing somebody or which part of their body that you're grabbing. So that's what makes catch wrestling very effective. But like I did say in the last TikTok stream that I did say that the main problem with catch wrestling is you can't get a good catch wrestling coach. It's very hard to. I'm very lucky, but it doesn't mean that my catch wrestling is going to be any good. But it's very hard to get a good catch wrestling coach. So always be wary when somebody says, "Oh, I'm a catch wrestling coach," and they're out of shape, which is one of the major problems with catch wrestling coaches these days. Silva Silva posted a little devil like figure. I wanted to actually put a questionnaire up, and I couldn't do this because I'm doing the live from my mobile. The questionnaire is basically what you guys would think would be the best martial art to incorporate into learning MMA. But then I realized it might have been better if I just asked you guys, what is better, Roblox or Among Us? So everyone has said Roblox. By the way, Silver, can you actually play Roblox? Is that a game that you have installed? So let me know that. That's very important. We need Silver there. We can play we can play Fortnite, but the Roblox version. Wrestling, Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, Muay Thai are the top three I feel you need if you had to choose only three. Yeah. So what you could do is you can combine. Nowadays, it's possible. You can combine wrestling and Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, and what you would have is a martial art called no-gi submission grappling, or just standard everyday grappling, and you learn both. But if you go to a wrestling coach, you're going to learn very specific wrestling moves, and those intricate details will later benefit you later on. As far as Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu goes, don't forget there are two kinds of Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. Explain this in another stream. There's actually 12 different kinds. Like there's Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu for everything, but there are two kinds of Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. There's no gi, so you don't wear the gi, you just wear like a normal t-shirt, and then there's gi. The gi is with the belt, and you get ranking and so on and so forth. The gi is fun, but you don't necessarily need it for MMA, right? So you could have never have went to a gi coach in your life, and you can still be great at it. If you just practice gi, and gi would be enough for MMA, to be honest with you. Shia John says no gi. Yeah, the no gi. Ultimately, catch wrestling, because catch wrestling has the positioning of wrestling, but it has submissions both on the ground and standing up. Catch wrestlers don't care what they can grab or what they can get hold of. It's not position before submission as it is in Brazilian Jiu Jitsu. It's often a case of, all right, I've got somebody's toe. I'm going to rip the toe. And I'm going to vary. I'm going to try and grab the chin. If I can't get the chin, I'll get the choke. If he protects the choke, I'm going for the nose. Let me break the nose. Okay, he pulls the nose away. Okay, we can distort the ear. We can break the eye socket. So just in the face alone and just holding like this, I'm holding I'm using my arm for the phone, but just imagine my other arm is here, and then I'm just going varying from here to here to here to here, right? So whatever the person blocks, you go around it. And in Brazilian Jiu Jitsu, it's often a case of position before submission. So it's two different ball games, and it's very hard to find a good catch wrestling coach. Like I said, I'm very lucky. Oh, by the way, my hair's gone. My wig. So yeah, if you have catch wrestling and Muay Thai, you've got two very good things. But if you want to split the catch wrestling into wrestling and Brazilian Jiu Jitsu, then you have a good base for MMA. A lot of people count boxing as the base for MMA, but if you're using boxing for your base as MMA, you'll want to inform your boxing coach that that's what you're doing. Ultimately, if you're just doing boxing for fitness, go ahead and do it. It's a very healthy thing to do. Um, Especially if you're not fighting professional, then you're not getting your head bashed in every single, you know, 3 times a year or something like that. Um, Same with MMA. If you're not doing it professionally, you're just doing it to stay fit, then you're going to have a longer career. You're going to have a longer career. A lot of people that I know that done MMA, they started like, there's one guy I know, he started in his teens. Like he started when he was 16 or something. By the time he was 24, he was kind of washed up. And I was like, what happened to you? You're not training anymore? He was like, no, injury after injury after injury. And he was never recuperating properly. So you have to kind of balance it out, right? I believe in incorporating every type of martial arts. Hypothetically, yeah, you can. Every martial art is movement. And if you're incorporating movement, automatically you're incorporating. Like if you throw a punch, it can be deemed a boxing punch, it can be deemed a Muay Thai punch, depending on if the body mechanics are a little bit different or not. So hypothetically, you could. But I would say only for MMA. Because if you were to do that in Judo, if you start kicking people in the head, if you start doing Taekwondo kicks during a Judo lesson, right, then people are going to say, why is he kicking me in the head? This is a Judo class, right? So then you unpurify the martial art. But yeah, thoughts on shadow boxing? Shadow boxing is one of the best things ever. Shadow boxing is a fundamental. And I hate people that do the shadow boxing like this. It's hard to show you here, right? But they go like this. Uh, they do it like haphazardly. Every single punch you do in shadow boxing, it should be as good as a technique as possible. That's why I tell people, go to YouTube, look at 2 punches, the jab and the cross, or the jab and an uppercut, right? Just your forward hands. And then look at 2 ways to parry or evade a punch. So, for example, moving your head to the left, or just a parry with the backhand. Just those 4 things, right? Combined with footwork in 4 directions, left, right, back, and forward. If you do shadow boxing for 2 times 3 minutes, you've already got a 6-minute workout, 1 minute in between. And then if you add some sit-ups, some lunges, some stretching, you've already got a good workout. You've got a half an hour workout. And I used to do shadow boxing. I used to have a shift where I would do 14-hour shift. So what I would do was drive my bicycle to work. I still do drive my bicycle. Back then, it's when I was like, why am I taking the bus? I should just drive my bicycle to work. This will save me loads of time. And then when I get home, before I take a shower, I would literally, in my work clothes, I would take my work clothes off, just put a t-shirt on, but I would still keep the trousers on. And then I would do 5 sets of 3 minutes. So it was about 50 minutes of shadow boxing. And then I would do stretches and stuff like that. And my shadow boxing would just be like head movement, parries, and then when I would punch, it would be really slow to make sure the technique is proper. So punching technique, first of all, you always have to keep in mind you use the kinetic energy to punch correctly. So foot placement is very important in a punch. But also, when you're punching, what moves first is one of the most important things. So if you're getting punched, you can see if the guy goes like this. But if you're getting punched because the guy just goes like this, it's being non-telegraphic. It's very important, and it's something that needs to be practiced. And also, eventually, after you've done shadow boxing, you want to do some light sparring. You can do technical sparring where you're just focusing on the jab, catching the opponent's jab, and you're trying to jab, and he's supposed to catch it. These things are amazing. These things are more than enough for a beginner, or more than enough for somebody who doesn't have time. So doing little things like shadow boxing can keep you in great shape, and you never know, right? Can keep you safe in a self defense situation. So yeah, shadow boxing is great. It's one of the best things you can do. And what I would say is, if you don't have access to a gym, or if you don't have time, or if you don't have the money, then do shadow boxing with all boxing techniques. Um, Once you have learned them all, once you understand them all, and then what you want to do is do fitness techniques, or like fitness routines that are based in something like a judo or wrestling, because that'll get you in great shape. That'll get your lower body in shape. And then just fill in all the other gaps with yoga. Like, yoga is no joke. You keep yoga, you'll be flexible and never have an injury. And when you do have an injury, you'll be able to deal with it amazingly. I think I can go live in January, and I can't wait because January is New Year's month. Congratulations. How many people do you need to go live? Yoga kind of sounds like Yoda. All right, I don't know if you know this. I watched The Office. The Office is with Michael Scott, and he meets a girl in the office called Holly, and he says, "What you doing?" And she says, Yoga." And then he's like, "Oh, yoga, you may do." And then she's like, "What?" And he's like, "Sound like yoga, Yoda." So, and I just watched that episode yesterday, and I never caught that joke. And just yesterday, I literally caught that joke. So now, just when you've said it, maybe because I mispronounced it, I don't know. How long did the update in Fortnite take, by the way, guys? I haven't done it yet. You only need 50 subscribers? Seriously? John says, wow. San said 30 minutes or so. Hmm. Hmm. I don't think I don't think I'll be doing that today. Um, 50 if mobile, any subs if no mobile, no mobile. Ah, right. So if you want to do it from your mobile phone, okay, I got you. All right. Good to know. Good to know. All right. So I think that about wraps it up. We've got Jeet Kune Do versus Brazilian Jiu Jitsu. We talked about the best base martial art for martial arts. And at the very beginning, I talked about what to do if you're a bit scared going into martial arts or starting in martial arts. So now you guys know. So I hope that helped covered everything. And I will now load up a, what do you call it? Roblox stream. Roblox streams are always very chaotic. And I stopped doing Roblox because everyone was like, point of view in martial arts, everybody was kung fu fighting. I love that song. Roblox is very hard to do, says JJ. Well, no, he's being sarcastic. JJ was at a funeral last week. Revived the guy with his reboot card. Yeah, no, I think we're okay. Um, XR Night JJ always confuses me, that name. But yeah, Roblox we can do, but Roblox is always so toxic. Like, I had a stream where everybody was just fighting and shouting at each other. And I was like, what y'all guys doing? And then it was like best buddies and everything. They were always so quiet in my streams. And I was like, why are y'all fighting each other? And then one of them was like, it's Roblox. Don't you understand what's at stake here? And I was like, no, I don't. So don't shout at each other, or don't antagonize each other. So yeah, That's what we're going to do. We're going to do Roblox stream, and hopefully nobody will be antagonizing anyone. Hopefully it will be a peaceful Roblox stream. So I'll set the stream up in the next 10 minutes or so. Yeah, if you haven't, guys, drop the like. If they fight, I'm going to be like, stop fighting. You tell them, Sans. You tell them. A man of charisma and character is our Sans. Thank you so much for that, Sans. All right. So, drop a like, drop a dislike, share with your friends, share with your enemies, and I'll see you soon. Oh, then I was Kung Fu fighting. If you had to choose to go to the body with punches or chop at the legs with low calf and quad kicks, uh, body with punches. Because if you get your kick caught, you can break your leg. And I'm not that good. If we're talking MMA, I'm not good enough to be able to securely say that I can hit somebody with 50 low kicks and that I would take away their legs. They only need to check 2 or 3 of my kicks, and then I'll be in pain. The body is something that is kind of uncharted territory in MMA. Not enough people do it, and it takes the wind out of wrestlers. Excuse me, very fast. So more people should do it. And a man of biscuits and cup of tea is trolls like me, JJ says. Left jab, right jab, player 2 hits me, dodges me uppercut. All right. All right, so hopefully we won't have any uppercuts that need dodging later on. I will see you soon, guys. Thank you for joining. Thank you for chilling. And we'll see each other in about 20 minutes. Roblox stream.